Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to react to Varun's new video about career advisor in a world of AI. If you don't know about Varun, Varun is a highly achieved individual in the field of AI and startups and entrepreneurship. So please go give him a follow if you haven't yet, and let's see what he has to say and let's see what I have to say about the stuff in the video. So let's go ahead.
There's a mistake young people make. It's assuming that the people who know the most about the future are the tutorial makers. Especially the ones who create tutorials on how to land interviews, how to get a job, how to learn the skill just to crack the job. The advice, the tips, the ways to think, it's all wrong. You follow them because you somewhat understand what they're doing. You somewhat understand the domain that they're in. You kind of know it, and they're giving you a clear path. It stops feeling random because someone's giving you a career path, someone's giving you a playlist. But real practitioners, something I've learned over the years, are not like that. They run strange experiments that very few people understand. They stay on top of new technology for which there aren't even mainstream jobs yet. Even terminology wouldn't have been created yet. But the masses, the people,
Man, video is going to be a banger when you have such sound design. Just listen to the audio making boom, boom. It's crazy, crazy editing, crazy sound design. Props to the editor. But yeah, it's somewhat makes sense. Even in my college, I've seen kids. They are just like, tell me how to get this job and tell me how to get this done, not why to get this done. And I know, like it seems to have a notion that you have to have a linear path about everything. But yeah, world's not linear, life's not linear. You can't just follow one certain steps of rules to achieve something. That is there for sure.
they reject these experimenters. It's just too unrelatable. You don't understand what they're doing because it doesn't fit into the mold of being a job. It doesn't fit into the mold of being a freelancer. It's just very strange. Because you don't understand it yet, you take your anger out on these people. And I'm not talking about you people watching, I'm talking about generally the masses. I'll give you an example. 2 years ago, I made a video called Yes, AI Will Take Your Creative Job. This was quite a while ago, right? Now the world is different, we know this. I made that video because of the comments of a clip that went viral, a clip of me on some podcast that went viral. This was in May 2022, 2.5 years ago. I'll play the clip right now.
First creative jobs are going to go. Do you know why?
Why?
Any AI that you create needs training data. अगर आप एक construction site पे जाओगे and take a video of the guy, laying bricks. With bricks, there's a lot of tolerance. I can have the brick like 2% down, 3% down, doesn't matter. I can have the cement. I have to create so many videos of it. We don't have that training data right now. But if you look at thumbnail designer, there is so much thumbnail data in the world right now. How many thumbnails have been created on YouTube? You tell me. Billions? I can just feed that entire data to an algorithm, order this by number of views the video has gotten, and I will get the ultimate thumbnail make. Because that data is available online.
See, in
Man, it's true. Thumbnail of this video is going to be created by an AI, right? So I remember getting somewhat frustrated when that clip came out, but now in hindsight, I realize I was wrong. And creative jobs are going to get hampered because of the rise in AI. I can edit a lot of my videos through AI, making thumbnails because of AI. So yeah, Varun was correct, and a lot of people who trolled him just because I think he hurt their feelings. Now I don't see them anywhere. So.
September 2024, this is not some revolutionary thought that AI can do creative stuff. But back then, when we only had early DALL-E previews, which I had, it was considered a very inflammatory view. People were like, you don't understand anything about creativity. The comments were mostly people abusing me as usual, right? Telling me I don't know anything or whatever. Remember, at this time, I was already using the latest tools, which at that point was just DALL-E. I had used the GPT API before it became popular as a chatbot. The open chatbot actually made it popular. But before that, you could actually use the API. People forget this. So that's when we had started experimenting. We actually made a simple wrapper to put GPT on WhatsApp. We actually realized that a lot of people were using it like an assistant. This was way before Meta announced AI on WhatsApp, by the way. But we knew it would die if it worked because it was inevitable. WhatsApp added an AI assistant. Like if it worked for us. I mean, of course, WhatsApp's going to release one, right? It was just so useful for people. So we built more apps to keep experimenting. We're like, there's this Mark Zuckerberg thing, right? Which is if you're entering a new industry, don't get trapped doing something that ends up being a local maxima. Keep trying things and find out where there's real opportunity, where there's a big opportunity. I had a hunch that AI is better for creative tasks than accuracy-based tasks. So we built Alpha CTR with a fine-tuned model at that point on Stable Diffusion for thumbnails, for YouTube thumbnails. Remember in that video I said AI will replace thumbnail making? Well, the best way to predict the future is to build it. So we built it. We solved a lot of very interesting problems and learned a lot of the capabilities and limits of the thing. And of course, if you're building a tool, then you quickly come into what the limitations of the base models are. We quickly learned that face swapping is not enough. In fact, the face has roughly 3 parts.
By the way, this podcast, Sero, I have my gamer tag name as Sero. I am known on Discord as Sero, and this is because of a lot of reasons. But one of the reasons was I think it was 2021 when I first heard Sero podcast by Varun. It was 2 episode podcast, a crazy podcast. If you want to give it a listen, please do. It's quite amazing. And yeah, that podcast was really nice, and that gave me my gamer tag. And it was one of the earlier times when I heard about what AI is going to do and how AI is going to be a major part of our life in future. And Varun predicted it, so profit. He was also wrong about a lot of things, which I'll let you to figure out if you listen to the podcast. But yeah.
Parts, right? Features, texture, how your skin is, all the beard parts and all that, and structure. While swapping solves features and textures, structure needed something else. And there was this interesting model at that time called Dream Booth. You sort of fine-tune a model on your likeness through a lot of pictures of you. The only problem was that Dream Booth's outputs were good, but it wasn't great. So we were waiting for the next jump. A couple of years later, Flux LoRa's came out, and with a training run of just 1,200 steps, we were able to create this. Not just that, many of our thumbnails today are actually automated with minimal or no human touch-ups. This thumbnail was created with AI, at least a big chunk of the thumbnail was created with AI. And we knew this was possible 2 years ago because of our experiences with Stable Diffusion and then with Dream Booth. We had already experimented and only then made a prediction. We knew the thing that solves this will be similar to Dream Booth, but better. And that's exactly what it was. We just waited. Next, let's talk about agents. We knew the other interesting use case of AI is as an agent, where it does a bunch or series of tasks for you, it delegates tasks if necessary. I first saw this behavior with AutoGPT. So we built this tool called AutoCode Pro, which put ChatGPT or the GPT API in agent mode to write code. We did this with Chrome extensions first because there's no deployment headache. It was a choice we took. And you know what? It blew my mind. It somewhat worked. It wasn't perfect, but some of the things that it pulled off, I was like, this is so close to what a developer would do. We did a live stream on Overpowered.
Now every second company is releasing their own agent. I have worked on few agents myself, for coding purposes and documentation purposes. And it's kind of fascinating or surprising how it has become so used to that we don't even think about it anymore. Whereas like, we'll have an AI for that, right? And back then, like around 3-4 years ago, that was a mind-blowing stuff. That how could an AI can think and write code? But now the first step that we do when we get an error in our code is go to like GPT or Claude or something, and that's fascinating. Prompting has become so uh, used to, so daily in our life that we don't even think about it anymore. That it was not with us 4 years ago, right? It's like a magic happening in the cloud.
Showing these agents in action a long time ago. And guess what? Yet again, we got belted. Because Reddit didn't know the difference between GPT and an agent on GPT. Again, I got called names as usual. This seems to be a recurring habit with most people who are looking at a completely new domain where somebody is just running lots of experiments. Now 2 years later, Replit dropped their agent and it's really good. You see, our method is very painstaking. It's probably the hardest way to make predictions about the future because you have to run an experiment. You have to build a proof of concept, see how users use it, and then make predictions of whether users in the future will find this useful or not. It didn't come out of our... And as I'm telling you the story of what we've done over the last couple of years, this moment has a very important lesson. It has a very important point. Because we had learned one thing about agents, especially in the prompt. If you ask the agent, think carefully, step by step. Weirdly, it's just part of the prompt, right? Think carefully. Somewhat did better. In fact, asking the model to explain its reasoning to you, why are you doing things the way you're doing it? And then correcting it was a good way to use it. If you spend further time reading, you can figure out why. The Nobel Prize winner and psychologist Daniel Kahneman has a good theory for how the human brain works. He claimed that there were two systems in thinking, System 1 and System 2. System 1 is often described as operating automatically and quickly, with minimal effort. It relies on thumb rules and biases, allowing us to make rapid judgments and decisions based on patterns we've learned over time. For example, when you quickly recognize a familiar face in a crowd or instinctively react to a loud noise, you're using System 1. System 2, on the other hand, engages in more deliberate, you're thinking about it. It's more effortful thinking. It's used for tasks that require reasoning, analysis, critical thinking. When you solve a mathematics problem, or plan a detailed project, or evaluate the pros or the cons of a decision, writing code, whatever, you're engaging System 2. This more
No, not really. Whenever, let's take an example about writing code. A lot of times you're on autopilot if you are doing monotonous job. If you have done the same thing again and again and again, it does become somewhat System 1, which he's trying to explain. Because it gets wired into your brain. You don't think about it anymore. You're at least actively, you don't actively think about it them anymore. So I get it what he's trying to do with System 2, but after a certain time, even System 2 can become System 1 if it has happened over and over and over again, right? It gets wired into your brain. So yeah.
mode is slower and more resource intensive, but essential for tasks that require careful consideration and logical analysis. System 1 is fast, System 2 is slow. System 2 requires a chain of thought. And when we were trying to build agents, what we realized, what we lacked, what we really wished the underlying model had was reasoning. This entire thing was reasoning. We model had.
See, here it is System 1 because we are directly giving the answer. There are two R's in strawberry, right? And it is wrong as well, right? Because it does not have two R's, it has three R's. But what if we apply System 2? What if we apply reasoning? Then we are going to count the R's instead of just giving out the answer which we feel like. Let's see what is coming
was
next.
reasoning. This entire thing was reasoning. We needed a System 2. It wasn't thinking the entire problem through and only thinking one step ahead. If you think one step ahead, you don't make the best decisions. What GPT-o1, the new model that has just come out, really solves is System 2. In their blog post, they state, "We've developed a new series of AI models designed to spend more time thinking before they respond. They can reason through complex tasks and solve harder problems than previous models in science, coding, and math. Through training, they learn to refine their thinking process, try different strategies, and recognize their mistakes. In our tests, the next model update performs similarly to PhD students on challenging benchmark tests in physics, chemistry, and biology. We also found that it excels in math and coding. In a qualifying exam for the International Mathematics Olympiad, GPT-4o correctly solved only 13% of problems, while the reasoning model scored 83%. What a jump. And if you use the model, sure enough, it is doing some reasoning. And the reasoning is pretty good. Enough to solve JEE chemistry problems. Not only is this enough to give it a big boost to solving math problems,
But still think GPT-4o, right, which solves only 13% of the problems. There are humans who could have solved 60-70% of the problems. So even think the biggest or the best of tech 2 years ago until, or let's say 1 year ago, was not at par with the best of the human mind. And now they are solving 89%, right? The jump is astronomical. The jump is pretty high, but still there is something about human intelligence which AI has not figured out, or at least we have not been able to figure out to put into AI. What is that? I don't know. Maybe someone knows. And let's see what happens next. But it's kind of scary and exciting as well that it is catching up to us. Chess has been solved a long time ago, right? Even the game of Go, right, which is a Japanese board game, has been solved a long time ago. And let's see when are we going to solve math as well.
but it is also enough to take coding to new heights. What we had learned with AutoCode Pro, the base model needed a replacement. This seems to be really good. Remember Devin? The thing that people were calling a scam because it wasn't solving some coding problems? Well, Devin at the time had already stated that their end-to-end completion rate, it was 13 or 14% or something like that. They'd already admitted that it wasn't anywhere near perfect.
It's a really hard problem, and we've only just started. But we're super excited about the progress that we've made so far.
But people still shat on them. Look at Devin's scores now. This is what it is with O1 as the base model. Look, coding as we know it is going away. I've said this so many times, I keep getting attacked for it, but I'll say it again. Coding is going away at some point, which is the manual process of writing code. And remember, coding is two parts. One is actually thinking about the problem and thinking about how you'll solve the problem. The second part is actually typing the code to solve the problem. The second
When somebody is saying coding is going away, or when someone is claiming that coding is going away, what he's trying to mean, or what he should mean, in my opinion, is the process of typing is going away, not the thinking. Still, you'll have to think. Still, you have to think about what ideas to bring, what problems to solve, the which problem should take higher priority and which problem should not take higher priority, right? Because you cannot solve everything at once. So at least uh, the course of typing, the course of manually putting every single word out there is going away. Even in my workflow, I don't write a lot of repetitive things, right? I just ask AI to complete it for me or write it for me. But the work lies in the ideation and in the implementation, that hey, I have this tool, I have this complete one chunk of tool, where should I put it to make it work? I can't just let AI decide where to put what, right? Because a lot of times it will not be correct, and it's good when it's correct, but it's devastating when it's not correct, because then you have to reiterate and fix the whole thing again, right? So what somebody means when they say coding is going away, or at least traditional coding is going away, the habit of writing everything by your own, right? Few years back, we did not have any auto completion, at least AI completion, and now we have that, right? The one keystroke, we keep on pressing tab, 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 and it completes the whole thing. That is what is going away.
Part is going away, and maybe some parts of the first part. Engineers will move up the problem. The second part is going away, and maybe
See, you still have to understand the problem. You still have to analyze the possible solutions. You'll still have to identify the components. You might not have to write those components yourself, but identifying is a big task that you'll have to excel at if you want to use AI into your tool. Again, AI is a tool, and I have always said a tool is as good as the practitioner.
some parts of the first part. Engineers will move up one role and become managers. When I spoke to Imad from Stable Diffusion, he said that this new role created by these new agents is getting good. It's going to be the manager of the agent, very similar to the manager of people.
When you look at how the React engineers operate, they're not writing the React code directly, you know? They're using libraries. So again, they've had a level up already.
Like any
True, 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 true. Very fascinating thing that he just said. When you are writing React code, or let's say any kind of code, you are using a bunch of packages, you're using a bunch of tools. Then we are not complaining, hey, you're not writing everything by your own, you're not a real. No, I have the tool. Why should I go and reinvent the wheel again and again and again? So let's take an example for people who are more into coding. Let's say I'm going to write an API, right? So I'm not going to implement the HTTP router by myself. I'm not going to implement all the methods and verbs by myself, right? I'm going to use the existing packages. So why can't we think the same way about AI agents? By the way, sorry for stopping at this weird frame. I hope if Varun is watching, he does not mind. But yeah, we are not claiming then that you're not writing real code. We are okay with the tools being code if we are using something external, but we are not okay if we are using something like AI. So in the future, there will be people who will have to use a bunch of AI tools to get stuff done, as we are using bunch of pre-existing tools and libraries to write the code, right? So yeah, that might change. That is already changing, right? If you are writing code, you are using a bunch of AI tools in your workflow to make your workflow simpler, faster, and easier, at least time efficient, if not very resourceful efficient, but time efficiency is there for sure.
manager at any company. And English, communication, knowing how to diagnose problems, unblock those things, sales, these things become more important than just being smart. Yet, people are sitting on the internet and fighting about DSA courses. It's like,
Which courses are? Let me see. Let me review these courses if I know about them. That would be
smart.
fun.
Yet, people are sitting on the internet.
Okay, so the first one is Desi Coder. Oh, I know him. I've actually watched some of his videos. He's from MSIT, I guess. MSIT is a college under IPO in Delhi. So I know this one. I know this person. I think. Yeah, he's founder of Geeks for Geeks, I guess. I'm not going to talk about him because I might get a lawsuit if I talk about him. He's a pretty nice person. I've interacted with him on Discord as well sometimes. Again, I don't really like his content, but yeah, he has done a great job. And this I don't know who is this. I seriously don't know. And this guy, I don't know. I don't know him. I don't watch a lot of coding stuff on YouTube, so let's play.
And fighting about DSA courses. It's like, Are you guys blind? You have to understand these new models change what it means to do work, especially in software. It's kind of obvious. Like, my personal opinion on this is AI advancements are going to force people to focus more on the outcomes and just not on the inputs.
Focus more on the outcomes and not on the input. What a banger line. You guys need to listen to these videos carefully. Focus on the outcomes and not the what is the inputs, right? So if your main goal is to get the job done, if your main goal is to build the software that you want to build, why not just focus on that and is get it done as quicker as you can, right? And again, you have to somewhat master the uh, skill of understanding the problem and bringing out the solution, but you don't have to master all of the things because a lot of things can be automated right now, right? So great message until here that you have to focus on the outcome based work and not just be very uh, you know rigid on that. Hey, I want to bring harder input if I want to have harder outcome. That's not how world is going to work. That's not how stuff is going to work. Explain.
If someone can build an entire app in a couple of days, then the only way to play is to use the same technology, build it in similar time frame, but now get users and revenue. Playing a smaller role, being a small part of a big team, building a behemoth big app, may phase out over time if it's trivial to build the entire app, which forces all of us to now find ways to get users and make revenue. I know it sounds scary because now you're responsible for the actual outcome. Now
Oh, what is this? La Where are we going political? Okay, Lalu Prasad Private Limited. We have P&L statements. Revenue stream 1, 2. All right. I know it's fake, but still funny they put in the time to write this thing. And it seems very accurate.
you actually have to make money. And I'll explain what make money means. Today you make money off a
Man, who is getting this much salary? Okay. April, May. You haven't have a hike yet? Earlier it was also 25K. It's still 25K. Man, give your workers more money. Give them a hike. Come on.
stable salary where your company might be making money in bursts on every transaction or whatever, right? Now you'll get paid when the transaction happens because you are now much more responsible for the outcome. It sounds scary, but it has been the truth of humanity. Outside of the last 200 odd years, it's always been like this. Farmers are not graded on what crazy farming technique or which farming framework they used, but on whether the crop quality was edible. Almost
Imagine going on a farmer's YouTube channel and commenting, "Hey, when is my food coming?" and make it edible. That was funny, but yeah, they thought of it. That was funny, but okay.
all job roles were self-employment or apprenticeship except the army and court roles, like the government roles of today. And all of these roles were judged on end produce. No hiding at a larger org and then blaming the organization if the business fails. Yet,
Your business model sucks, not me. That's what I'm going to. That's what my resignation letter should be to my CEO. If my CEO is watching, beware. Uh, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But that's funny how they wrote that.
knowing all this, knowing that this was the nature of things, you somewhat know this. You still spend all your energy solving DSA to get a job. I get it if you're actually picking up DSA to actually improve your own skills or improve at life. Sometimes that can be very valuable. Solving problems also improves the brain. But you're doing it for a job that won't exist in the way you think it will in 5 years. O1
Uh, oh, it was said 5 years ago as well that we'll scrap off DSA, we'll scrap off this, we'll scrap off that, and still haven't yet. So I'm not sure. I don't think they're going to scrap off the standard hiring system because there are companies who need to hire in like you know masses. Big tech companies, they're not going to individualize the process in near future, at least next 5-10 years. I hope they do, but I don't think they will. But the kind of DSA questions might change because the cheating is so prevalent, so common these days that you just cannot filter out the candidates who have cheated on their online assessment and who have done by themselves. So I hope they bring some change, but DSA is not going to get anywhere because that is a standard hiring filter which will be there, and it's very easy for HR. Just look at the scores and reject the bottom like 50% candidates and select top 50% candidates, and that's easy. That's done. But let's see.
the new model is already better than 93% of people on code forces. why will people pay you for this skill if it's free to solve really hard technical problems? Because OpenAI is planning to put out an O1 release for free to the public in the future. The weirdest thing is people complaining about me becoming a content creator in the last couple of years, right? Because a lot of people are like, oh, you were an engineer for 10 years, then you suddenly transitioned full-time and being a content creator or whatever. I made this decision 2 years ago because I was running a software company and realized features were getting commoditized. I was actually in the shoes of somebody running a software company. So we'd hire engineers to solve some problems from scratch to maybe make an entire, let's say, 1,000-man streaming room. But then companies like Mux came out and said, well, you can just use us inside your own platform.
Mux, great piece of technology. I have used Mux in my projects. So yeah, the thing that he's trying to portray is that in future or even now, there are a lot of things that is just so easy, right? That's the difference between coding and programming. If you are coding, you are coding, you are writing code. But if you are programming, you are not essentially writing code. You are bringing out a bunch of tools and programming them together to work and give the output which you want, right? Mux is a great example. Any tools which exposes you API, let's say WhatsApp business API, right? You are not setting up a digital e-commerce platform. You are using the uh, already set up platform for programming your platform, for making it look or making it behave as you want it to be, right? So there is no, I wouldn't say there is no point, but there is very minimal point of reinventing the wheel as of now, unless you have some crazy otherworldly idea. There is no point reinventing the wheel again and again. You're just going to get in that loop of perfectionism and you will miss out on a lot.
Platform and offer this to customers. The customer doesn't care.
By the way, I also have Hardik in my company. Okay.
Whether you built it from scratch or whether you use third-party tools, as long as it solves a problem that they're willing to pay for. When we built a feature, a competitor copied that feature in a week, and then we started doing the same thing to them. So we started asking ourselves, what the is the moat? What is our defense?
Okay, what the is the moat? That question, I don't think anybody has answered to it now, because there is no moat anymore. There is nothing you can do to ensure that you are safe unless you are already a big tech giant. And again, big tech giants are also not safe, right? They get bit down on a regular basis on at least little parts of their company, not the whole thing. But you are not safe anymore with the amount of rapid development that has gone in past few years.
And it was starting to dawn on me then that it started to become purely about customer discovery, trust, and the customer's love. But mainly, it was about customer discovery. It was about creating distribution. So I pivoted my life. Very hard decision for me, but I had to pivot my life. I said, I'm still going to use technology, but I'm going to use it to focus on building distribution. That seems to be a moat where even if content gets automated, the followers, trust, and love that you create is still valuable. I said to my team, and I remember this, that I'm going to use AI to create software to.
But these distribution, and correct me if I'm wrong, wouldn't it only work when your target is watching you on YouTube? Let's say you are building for a business. That business is not one person who is going to watch you and subscribe to you and comment, right? That business is a whole corporation. And how would you convince a corporation? By just approaching to them and talking to them. So distribution works in weirder ways. Distribution works if your distribution is watching you and if your distribution is individual people who are going to put their trust in you, right? And again, just being a content creator does not mean you'll have distribution. Look at how many people on YouTube or Instagram have tried their business and failed miserably. They had millions of followers, but they failed, right? Nobody bought their product because that's not what they were watching them for, right? That's not what they were supposed to do. They were supposed to make content, not business, right? So it's not the guarantee that if you have distribution, if you had numbers, you will just succeed in your business, right? Um, but still, I get the point. But again, I'm not really convinced 100% about this thing. That the way to build distribution is being a content creator. Being a content creator means you'll get distribution. That's not how it's going to work. At least in a lot places, a lot of places.
Solve problems instead of using it to sell software per se. So even if I build a tool instead of selling it for $9, we'll actually focus on creating the end thing. And we kept experimenting with that goal, our goal of using this to create distribution. And that's where the thumbnail thing came from as well. And And in Feb 2023, I put out a tweet. We used this open source Wave to Lip repository and someone else's voice and dubbed my video and matched my lips with it. This is a very, very early version, and of course it wasn't great. But to me, I was like, if I wait 2 years on this, this is gonna get good. Same thing.
We did the same thing at a hackathon and we named it Vani. We dubbed videos in a lot of Indian regional languages, and we tried lip syncing also. I think it was 1.5 years back. We tried lip syncing as well. We failed miserably in the lip sync part, but we dubbed it, we gave it the original voice, accent, and all that thing. But lip syncing was something that we couldn't do. And yeah, let's see. Now it has become so easy to have the lip sync and the video and the audio, everything correct. But 1.5 years back, it was just a pain. And that's when Varun also put out this thing.
Like we did with, images. Again, common people said, this is stupid, nobody will watch AI generated content. I bet you thought this as well.
No, 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 Varun, I did not. But yeah, because I was building with AI, right? So why would I think about this? But yeah, he's addressing the general public, and I get it. I get it. A lot of people shit that, hey, AI is not going to do anything, this and that, and they might even not notice that you are watching an AI, right? They might even not notice that you are talking to an AI. Your customer support is an AI, right? Your whole world, not whole world, but a lot of things that you are going to use and a lot of things that you are using is actually driven by AI. They might not even notice that, but they'll go on the internet to comment, hey, AI is not going to do anything, blah, blah, blah. They will find one obscure chat GPT answer, which is horribly wrong, and they will just say like, hey, I did this, so it's not correct. But you are ignoring the 99.9% of time, which was the correct answer by the GPT, right? So it's just the bias that is driven, and the fear also. A lot of people fear that if AI has arisen, they will make you a slave. No, we are not living in iRobot or Terminator world, at least for now. So the fear is also driving these statements that AI is shit, AI is not going to do anything. But the fact is, AI is doing a lot of stuff. You might not even notice it. And I have watched a clip from here to, I think, 1 minute clip from this video, which I'll not say right now because it will be a spoiler. But see, Varun is going to reveal something really mind blowing, which also blew my mind when I first saw it. Let's see what it is.
But the minute we did that and we saw the output, we're like, there is going to be a time where people don't care so much. This is a prediction we made. Fast forward 1 year, 5 months later from that tweet, we did 51 million global views on Instagram last month and another 15 million views on YouTube, with 25% of this audience coming from abroad. The best part is that for many of those videos, it's not actually me presenting, it's an AI avatar that we've spent a long time fine-tuning.
See? So that's what I'm talking about. You might not even realize that that is an AI. You might not even realize that I am an AI. What proof do you have that I am the one actually speaking? It can be my avatar, right? And I'm not going to reveal is it me or is it my avatar. But there was Varun's avatar, right? And nobody noticed it. I mean, people did notice, a lot of people did notice, but the general mass did not notice that it's an, or I think they don't care until and unless you are getting the information out of the video or whatever you are there for. They will not notice or they will not care if it's an AI or something. If it's close to perfection, who the fuck, oh, who cares, right? Who cares?
And perfecting both the audio as well as the video.
This is Varun Maya. He's averaging 25 million views per month, but the quality's so damn good, most will never realize that it's not actually Varun.
We have the fastest news to video workflow in the world today with an AI avatar.
Man, I want to do this. On Instagram, I want to have news to video workflow. Maybe for tech news or maybe for pop culture news. I am huge pop culture nerd. Next few videos there will be about pop culture on my uh, YouTube. So let's see if you guys like it or not. But yeah, this is incredible what he has achieved. The workflow, the content workflow that he has achieved through AI.
Doing the heavy lifting. All the models are other people's, but we fine-tuned some of them to get the results we wanted. It's got an automated voice, and we combined this with a manual editing team because we knew that video editing wasn't going to get automated. We had tried. And you know what would be really valuable if you're making a lot of videos like this and you really need a video editing team to get this to happen? A video editing cohort would be extremely valuable.
I knew this was coming. I knew this was coming. I will not skip this because I am using him for views. So please, if you are interested in video editing, join his cohort. I am not paid for this, obviously, but I have heard good. I have heard good reviews about the cohort, and they are very transparent. They are very good in what they do, and they also provide placement as well. So if you are interested in editing, please join their cohort and let them.
In fact, we now do Gen AI services specifically in content and general content services for a lot of companies. Here are some of the customers we have worked with in the B2B element for the last 6 months alone. And now suddenly Twitter is changing its tune. Let me read this tweet that's popular today. It's by Arib. My hypothesis on the future of software. $1 billion SaaS companies are cooked. Marginal cost of building software products is going to zero. In the next 2 years, we'll be able to build any SaaS tool I need. Need a CRM? Prompt 123, it's made. Blah, 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 blah. And then he says, TBH, the real winners are going to be the content creators.
No, 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 no. I don't agree. I don't agree. The cost of building software will not be zero. You'll have the code, but where will you put it? You will put it in metal boxes. That will cost. You will need people to join the wires. AI cannot join the wires. That will need cost. These inflammatory tweets that is just on the extreme side of one thing is always going to be wrong. Either you agree with it or you don't agree with it. If the tweet is inflammatory, if the tweet is aggressive or extremist on one side of the coin, it's not true. It's not true. The world is not that black and white. And the real viewers are not going to be content creators. Nope, 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 nope. It's the equivalent of saying that 50 years ago somebody would have said the real winners of the world would be the celebrities or film stars or music stars, and not the people who has the actual money, the businessmen, the business tycoons. It might seem like the celebrities are the real business people. Sorry, celebrities are the real powerful people. They are the real winners, but no, those celebs dance like a clown in a businessman's wedding. All right. So the only real winner will be the people who has the money and the power. It does not matter will they be content creators or business people or software developers, anything. If they have the money and the power, them are going to be the real winners, right? Some of the content creators can be the winner, right? They will have extreme amount of money and power, but not all of them. It's not that one-sided, okay? And yeah, it's not the cost of software will not going to be zero. Building software will not be as easy as this tweet was predicting it to be. It will always be difficult because you are trying to give instructions to something, and that thing is trying to follow those instructions. And one thing humans are very bad at is giving particular instructions. Think about your mom. Your mom will tell you to bring something from someplace in your house. She is not going to point out from where and what thing, because humans don't think like that. Humans don't think in bullet points. Humans don't think in particulars. They think like a goofball, like a woolen piece of ball, right? Their thoughts are very interpolated. So if it comes to the point where AI is going to write code and we just have to provide instructions, again in that criteria, everybody cannot be winner, because thinking clear is a very crucial task, and it's a very difficult task to nail as well. So real winners might not be content creators, might not be software developers, might not be the owners of those software. It's not that simple to predict, right? Future is not simple to predict.
As number of products increase, number of companies competing for the same markets and creators increase, increasing the value of creators. The oil of today is attention, but it'll be the diamonds of tomorrow. And that's exactly what I've been saying for 2 years. And now suddenly, it's so much cognitive dissonance for the masses. Distribution? I thought this was some lame content creator and marketing type thing. Sales? I have to talk to people? That wasn't in syllabus, but it was always true. The guy selling DSA courses was successful not because of his or her skill at writing code or their skill at teaching. They were successful because of distribution. You misattributed why they were doing well.
True, that is true. Again, this is what I uh, reiterated, right? That your distribution will work, but it will only work as far as your following goes, or as far as the people whom you are targeting are on those levels of distribution. Let's say my target people are owners of businesses, like hyper successful people. They are not on YouTube watching my content. I'll have to approach to them, and here comes the sales. Here comes the skill of sales, and I think which is what he's going to cover next. But yeah, there is always a fine balance between what you're targeting and what you actually have to target.
They were doing well because they were reaching you, not because they were teaching you. It was clear all along. Their revenue, lifestyle, etc. It was all because of distribution. But you took the wrong message away. You thought it was about skill. That's why they're doing more and more successful in life. It's because people knew them. People were able to see them on screen, and therefore they got more business, they got more traction, they got more customers. Look, I'm the first to admit I'm not always right. And things change. For example, in Pajama Profit, the book I wrote in 2018, we had an entire chapter about how robots will take your job. Far before ChatGPT. Just so you know, I've been covering OpenAI since 2017, 2018 on an old Facebook page that I've had. So I've been keeping up with their early research, just like I'm keeping up with robotics now, but not making much content about it because it's not so exciting to the end user and it's not time yet. But I'll tell you one thing that I was right about, but then wrong about. Pajama Profit was about remote work. That's why it's called Pajama Profit. Pajamas, at home. This was much before the pandemic, so remote work wasn't mainstream. And of course, after pandemic, remote work became mainstream, and we were right again. But I didn't realize how much remote work slows down company when you actually mass implement it. Because there was no way for me to know what would happen if you mass implemented this. It's fine to do remote work after you're a very successful company and doing the same thing every day, but if you're shipping new products and features or specifically entering new markets or pivoting, it is very bad. So I was wrong not in predicting the macro trend of maybe remote work will be a thing, but I didn't have the wisdom to see it play out fully because I'd written this before the pandemic and we had never seen full remote work actually play out to realize it's actually not a great thing for companies. Prediction was right, but I changed my mind now because of new evidence. But I think that prediction will be wrong in 4 or 5 years. Of course, experienced companies that have already figured out product market fit, they will continue to work remote, but it's not going to work for early stage companies. So I have the humility and nuance, and it takes a lot of humility to do this, to change my opinions as I gain more evidence. But the main secret is not even about changing your opinions as more evidence comes. The secret is to not listen to the masses. And right now, you are listening to the masses. And they're saying, keep studying this thing and doing the same thing. Everything will be the same as it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It probably won't. And you feel it somewhere in your gut and you're like, no, but the masses are saying it's going to be like this, so I should follow them. You know, the only difference between the last 2 years and the last 10 years of my life, why the last 2 years have really taken off, maybe the last 1.5 years have really taken off, it's mostly because I stopped listening to other people. It's a really hard thing to say. Like, it's really hard.
And you never know these things in future. You can be so wrong not listening to masses, and you can be so right not listening to masses. You can never predict. And as what he said, right, he was wrong, and now in some cases he's right as well. So you can never predict where are you going to be wrong and where are you going to be correct. Let's take an example, and this is a very famous example. When Henry Ford was building his car empire, right? People wanted faster horses, not cars. Ford gave them cars. So the problem was people did not want faster horses, they wanted a faster means of transportation. But the only means of transportation they knew that were horses. So you're like, okay, we need faster horses. But in reality, they needed faster modes of transportation. In today's world, what the masses need is a easier, better workflow, is a easier or a good to hire labor, right? And they will look for people because that's the only way of labor they have seen till now. They have not seen robots or machines to do their labor for themselves, right? So that is what the difference is. Masses do not even know what they want, right? Or at least they think they know what they want, but they only realize a part of it. All right. When electing governments, people think, well, I want this person to be my leader. I want this person to be my leader. No, you don't want a person A or person B to lead you. You want a person who is going to fix A or B, who is going to fix the problem A or problem B, right? No matter who is it, right? But you have only seen things in terms of people, not ideas, to realize that masses need better ideas, not better people, right? So that's what happens. Masses are never right. Okay. If masses were right, then none of the democratic countries would have faced any problems because those were chosen by the masses. So yeah, not listening to masses can be a good attribute as well, because then you are focusing on the core problem part of it, not what they seem to the problem is, but what actually the problem is.
Hard thing to implement, right? Like you have really successful people, people you work with saying, no, no, this won't work, don't do this is stupid. And still pushing past that, knowing that you have their disapproval. It is really hard. And when you're doing it publicly as a content creator and you're saying something and then everyone's shouting at you in the comments,
Uh, People commenting on this video criticizing him 10 months ago. Now look how far AI came in just 10 months. I don't want to say, but yeah, again, right? If you do not have very good evidence to prove anyone wrong, just assume they are right. And that this is what I have done in my career, that disagreeing should have more effort. If you are trying to disagree with a person, you should bring out more effort than when you're trying to make people agree with you. Okay, because when you're trying to disagree with someone, you are um, claiming that you know better, not better, but you're claiming that your evidences are wrong. So provide counter evidence. Okay, just don't disagree for the sake of disagreeing, right? And this is what happened with this clip, that people just disagreed because they wanted to disagree. They wanted to shit on someone who is trying to, shill an AI idea. But again, he had an idea. If you want to counter that, counter with ideas and facts, not with just your rage.
and you're like, okay, am I wrong? You think about it every night. You're like, do I still give this opinion out knowing that everyone hates me for this opinion, or people think I'm completely wrong and I'm a bozo, I'm an idiot? But if you listen to your gut, and that's the only thing that's changed in the last 1.5 years, which is I've stopped listening to everybody else. I'm like, this is what the experiment I've run.
By the way, 19 minutes have passed and there is no career advice. I mean, I might have missed the career advice, but there is no career advice at. Maybe in the end there will be some grand showcase of some advice, but the only advice I have figured till now, that you need to experiment. The world is rapidly changing and you have to change also. You need to experiment on stuff and you need to see what works for you and what does not works for you. You need to take into the consideration the possibility that the world is going to change rapidly and you cannot just stick to orthodox methods to achieve something. That is one advice that I have taken from this video. It's a phenomenal advice, to be honest. But apart from that, I have not seen any particular pointed out advice that, hey, this is one advice that you should follow. And that is the theme of the video as well, that there is no one advice that you can follow. There is no way you can predict future, right or wrong. You have to experiment. You have to think what the world is going to be. You have to bring out your own ideas and experiment with it and roll with it, whichever ideas work. I think that is the theme of the video. I might be wrong here, but that's what I have understood so far.
Tells me this is the evidence, and this is what I should bet on, this is what I shouldn't bet on. Here's how it plays together. And if you do that, you end up doing a little bit better for yourself. And in the last 1.5 years, we've done reasonably well. So my main advice is, I think you should stop listening to the masses, to the industry, to the experts, whatever it is. You should not even listen to this video. You should.
Again, exactly, this is what I have said. This is what I have said right now. That the theme of the video is don't listen to this video. But I'm doing it for my views. So, okay.
Run your own experiments. What has actually worked for you in life, whatever it is, it could be completely different from what I say. I could end up being completely wrong for your circumstance in your life. But you need to look at it and be like, what is the experiment that I can run? Small experiment. Does it work? Do I like this? Should I be doing this? And then make the decision on, should you do that for a career? Should you learn that? Should you invest time in that? And even if there are people telling you you're wrong, you do that for a career. Should you learn that? Should you invest time in that? And even
I don't want to read the username, but you can and laugh at it. Wow, that is creative.
if there are people telling you you're wrong, you
You seriously think people will buy this? Yeah, people did buy this. Okay.
make a mistake, blah, blah, blah. Don't listen to them. Especially in masses, something happens to the human brain. And I think the collective IQ drops or something like that, or we become completely frozen to new ideas.
Collective IQ drop. The okay, your favorite metal band has dropped a new album called Collective IQ Drop, but that is true. That's what I've said also. If masses would have had the power to think, um, every democratic country would have been there at the top. But yeah, I'm not going to commentary I'm not going to comment on any political issues there, but you get the idea, right? Masses are a lot of times they are wrong because again, no political statements. Okay.
And that's point one, right? Which is run your own experiments, make your own decisions based on those
Career option, become a programmer, skills needed. Um, okay. If you notice that he has written up being a programmer and being a software engineer at two different levels, the skills are also different, and time to learn is more and salary is more. And this is what I like, that just being a programmer does not make you an engineer, and there are nuances to it. I might cover it in a different video, but there are nuances to being an engineer which is not just covered by being a programmer. Next one, YouTube channel. Okay. Cool enough. Graphic designer. Data scientist has awesome salary. Agreed. Marketing agency. Cool enough. Content creator. 45K. I mean, these are relative salaries. These are hypothetical numbers, but the ratios are kind of correct as well. Time to learn. I don't agree with time to learn numbers, but I do agree with the potential salary numbers.
experiments. Nobody can solve life for you. The second thing is that you probably will have to think more like a manager, and you probably have to start taking responsibility for outcomes. If you do those two things, I think you'll be fine. It's scary. I can't now just charge a company money for a skill. I can't just say, look, I'm really good at this, I passed the interview, give me money. I now have to create outcomes. I know I'm
Exactly. Um, it's not what you can do, it's what you can do for them. That is what matters. It's not what you can do, it's what you can do for them. This is what going to matter, and this always mattered, right? It does not matter you are the best software developer in the world, but if the company that you are applying for do not need you, it does not matter, right? So what you can do for them. So outcome based work is going to win, and it has winning always. Outcome based work will always be triumphed over what you can bring out in the form of input. If that input is not going to result in proper outcome as well, it's going to be a hard way of monetizing it.
responsible, like the salesperson, right? Now you feel the engineer now feels the salesperson's plight, which is the salesperson actually has to close something every day or every week or whatever the customer or company demands, and if he or she doesn't, they lose their job. Now the same for everybody. You can't now say on Twitter that, see, I am very good at this, I know this, and not prove it. You have to actually build at least one thing. You will be wrong many times. Lots of the things that you build will fail. It's happened to me, but you have to be right at least once, and that's when you start doing well. There are people now who have worked at unprofitable companies for years, probably a decade, right? Gone from one unprofitable company to another unprofitable company. That era is probably going to come to an end. And then
What do you mean? People are not going to work for cred anymore? I'm just kidding. I love cred. Okay. If anybody is watching from cred, do not blacklist me. But yeah, I don't know what he means by unprofitable company. Maybe the company who is not doing anything instead of just making profits. I don't know. I really don't understand this thing.
the truth will become important once again. Not what you think is true, but the truth. No, I feel this way emotionally, so it's correct. That's over. I felt like that, I fought with that, and I'm like, yo, if customers want something, I'm nobody to fight it. I can't swim against the river. Because outcomes don't care about intent or how you feel or how hard you work. Or that
It is everything. It is for every field. Your action or intent does not need to align, and it will not align with the outcome a lot of times. You might put very few hours of work in something and it might blow up. It might give you the best take of your career, and sometimes you will work day and night for something and it might not work. So it is just it's very much the likelihood of what works and what does not work, and repeating that thing again and again instead of figuring out what works, right? So outcome is not going to align with what input you are going to give, and it has never aligned with, to be honest.
that laborer would be richer than Warren Buffett.
Correct.
Outcomes care about whether your insights are correct. If my insights about AI plus content were wrong, I would have failed. Every successive try I've had in my life, and I've tried many times, I've had several bad years, some good years, but every successive try I've had in my life has been with much more honesty, not just about myself, but about what customers really want. And I still make mistakes. Some of my experiments still don't work out. It's part of the game. And you need to learn that. And if I fail again, I will come back, I'll sharpen my sword again and give people even more of what they really want. That's why you must try and fail to sharpen that sword. Because otherwise you have opinions about whether to learn this or do that are untrue. You haven't even tested them. And the more you hope that other people on the internet give you these paths, I really don't think it's going to work. That's why I titled this video in a way where you would think this video is a path, but actually I've probably left you slightly more confused. But
this is what I was talking about. He's not going to give you any advice, and nobody should, and you should not listen to advices. Just do your own thing, dude. Just do your own thing. You'll fail, you'll learn, whatever. Just do your own thing. At least then you don't have anyone to blame that, hey, you gave me this advice, you were wrong, fuck you. Do your own thing.
in my opinion, on the right path. So I know I went on a bit of a tangent, but in the world of rapidly advancing AI, try to figure out what people truly want. The thing can now reason, the thing can write, the thing can really help you, right? But your insights need to be correct. You need to be the manager who knows the market well, and that will really help. That's how you actually make money. Not what you wishfully think customers want, but what they really want. Then you use the tool, you use AI to make that and use your network or whatever distribution you end up building to sell it. It's a very exciting time if you want to build stuff and sell it. And as always, chart your own path. It's your story to write, not mine, not anybody else's. Good luck. Bye.
Subscribe to Varun if you have not yet, and subscribe to me as well if you have not yet. Chances are you have not subscribed to me. I know a lot of people watches my video. Not a lot of people, 100, 200 people. But again, subscribe to that YouTube button. Like the video if you have not. And yeah, the core thing that you should take from this video is that do your own thing, right? Focus on what output you need and align your insights with that and just experiment. And yeah, beta, I'll see you in the next one with some another kind of video. Again, this channel is not just about tech. I'll try experimenting with whatever the fuck I want. And yeah, if you have not liked the video, smash that like button, share to your friends, comment down what you like and did not like about the video. And I'll see you in the next one. Ta-ta, bye-bye.